public radio international program To The Point has a host by the name of Warren Alney. You're familiar with him. I'm familiar with him. I listen to his show every day. And he's actually in a bit of trouble because of a show that he had regarding Jerry Sandusky. During the show, he asked the question of whether or not gay couples should have the ability to either be foster parents or adopt kids, given the fact that Jerry Sandusky molested all these little boys, right? First of all, I'm surprised that he had that show, because what does pedophilia have anything to do with
homosexuality?
Exactly.
Zero to do. So every time these stories come up, that it just be, that a gay parent, that he's a pedophile. He's not, it has nothing to do with his persuasion. He's a pedophile. He's a monster. And this has nothing to do with whether gay people should be allowed to adopt children. It has nothing to do with it at all.
Now, if you guys...
I'm sorry. If rapists, if a man rapes a woman, does that mean that men and women cannot have children together? I mean, it's the same type of argument that men should just not be around children.
Yeah, men shouldn't be around children. We shouldn't allow men to adopt or be foster parents at all in any cases because of all the horrible things that happen on the planet. This is so stupid, and I can't believe that he had this on his show. And if you guys aren't familiar with Warren Alney's program, what he usually does is he'll have a topic, right, and he'll have usually someone to the right and someone to the left commenting on it. And one of the questions that he asked during the show is, shouldn't we re-examine attitudes toward allowing homosexuals access to children, seeing how macho, and Alney actually used that word, Sandusky wound up defying stereotypes and raped them anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, I like that too.
So, he had I believe, gay person on the show.
Well, he had a gay parent from Los Angeles,
yes,
and then he had someone from the Arkansas Family Council on the show.
Right, and people who listened to the program said that he
by the way, his name was Jerry Cox. I'm just saying.
That was his name.
Yeah.
That was his name. And people were complaining that, he gave Jerry Cox too much time, whereas the gay parent didn't have enough of an opportunity to speak during this interview. And by the way, look, I'm not even having that conversation. That topic shouldn't have even been up for discussion, because it plants this seed in people's minds. Like, yeah, wait a minute. Maybe gay couples shouldn't have the ability to adopt, which is stupid. Anyway, so people were upset at this show, and Warren Alney actually released 2 apologies. The first apology wasn't good enough for a lot of people, so I want to read that for you guys. He said, "Thank you for all the feedback. There seems to be a lot of misunderstanding of today's To The Point. We had no intention of confusing the issues of child abuse and same-sex adoption. We apologize to anyone who drew that conclusion." So it was the classic, oh, if we offended anyone or if we confused anyone, we apologize, I guess. Like, you kind of get that feeling from it. Well, that wasn't good enough, and GLAAD came out strong against him. And he actually released another apology, which we have for you today. So let's listen to that.
I want to apologize for something that happened on Friday's To The Point. We reported that Penn State's former assistant football coach Jerry Sandusky was allowed to care for foster children, even though authorities knew he was suspected of child abuse. With hundreds of thousands of troubled children in need, we thought it was a good time to point out that gay and lesbian couples are often prohibited from both fostering and adopting, even though they can provide loving homes. We failed to point out explicitly that pedophilia and homosexuality are not connected, and that led some listeners to think we were buying into an infamous falsehood. Over the weekend, we received a lot of critical comments from people who thought that by discussing both topics in one show, we had equated the two. We respect our listeners, and we want to respond. There is no connection between pedophilia and homosexuality, and we never intended to say or imply that there is. But our failure to make that crucial distinction explicit was a serious oversight. We regret it, and we apologize.
Now that's an apology.
That is a major apology. Sometimes you hear, Warren Alney has had the show To The Point forever, and he is really good. And he didn't give equal time is what happened this time. And he had somebody who was sort of a monster talking about the gold standard of parenting and raising a child is in a family with a mother and a father. And perhaps ideally that is a great way to raise a child. It's how I was raised. But I don't see at all how they can take what this as being anything that Warren Alney himself said. His apology, I think, speaks volumes. It was like the best apology you can give.